throughout her educational career. She is currently working as an assistant professor at VM Sagankar College of Law, Panjim. She is the recipient of two prestigious international scholarships. She has been regularly delivering lectures at various institutions, universities, colleges, schools in Goa, India, and abroad. She has won many awards to her credit. In 2018, she was awarded the Academic Excellence Award at the Legal Summit New Delhi. In 2019, she was conferred South Indian Women Achiever. Her academic writings in the area of intellectual property rights, laws for women, laws for children, technology laws, which have been published in reputed international and Indian law journals. In the year 2020, she has been awarded the Academic Excellence and Outstanding Research in Law. I bid a warm welcome to I bid a warm welcome to Mrs. Rajana Farao Souza Cordero.
Good afternoon, and thank you very much for that kind introduction. I thank Professor Siddesh and the principal of the college for having invited me here today. The law relating to intellectual property rights is a vast area with a lot of new developments which happen by the day. And in fact, I think the choice of topic for today, trademarks, what we are going to discuss, and particularly with reference to Goa, how we Goans can start our own business and protect our trademarks is very essential for every student, every entrepreneur, and every innovator. This is a right time to discuss this issue because during the COVID time, we saw most of us turning into entrepreneurs. Most of us made something and we used probably social media or maybe our WhatsApp group or maybe our friend circles, our networks to sell our products. So if we have turned into a trader and we are a community of trading our goods, then it is important for us how do we protect these goods and how do we become more successful in the marketplace. So in the next 1 hour, what are we going to do? We are going to talk about trademarks. What is a trademark? We are going to discuss the need for protecting these trademarks. We are going to talk about rules one has to keep in mind while registering a trademark. And finally, we will look at some consequences which could take place for not registering a trademark. Now, what is a trademark? What you see on the slide is a simple business or a salon. Probably many of you might have even visited this salon since it is in Panjim. So, since most of us have our own name, you gave me a wonderful introduction just now. So you introduced me by my name and told so many things about my life. Similarly, if I want to know about you, I know you by your name. If I want to know about a business, I know the business by its name, a company by its name, or even a product by its name. So we had a very famous salon in Panjim called as Sephora. Unfortunately, there is also a very famous international chain called as Sephora. The Goan one probably had no idea that there was an international chain when they started out their business. And we all know that this Goan one, the Goan Sephora, was running for a good decade, more than 10 years. They had set up their branches in Panjim, Mapsa, Margao. It is well known. But one fine day, they receive a notice saying that, look here, I'm an international brand. I already have a trademark. You have copied my trademark. So let me know, how much damages can you pay me, or what is it that you like to do, or whether we should go to court to settle our dispute. Immediately, Sephora had to take remedial steps. And what did they do? They changed their name to Sharon. So this could happen to anyone and everyone. You are in a business, you have selected a name for your business, and unfortunately, we do not realize that this name has been taken or is already registered as a trademark and is already well known among a segment of people. So the issue here is that one has to be vigilant. And today, with the development of technology, with the development of internet, with we traveling from one place to another, taking a defense by saying that, oh, I didn't know that in America there was a product by this name, there was a company by this name, is a very weak defense. So it is presumed that today goods have a transboundary reputation, and with a simple search engine like Google, one can easily search, look out for products, and know if they're available. Therefore, it is very, very important for each of us to know the law of trademark and to know whether it has been registered, if at all I want to use that name to start my business. Similarly, besides looking out for the name and knowing that whether a name, a similar product has been registered, I also need to keep in mind certain rules. Most of us must have shopped online through Myntra. And recently, there was a news item which came, which told us that the letter M, which is used as a logo by Myntra, probably does not sound decent. It is an indecent logo. So Myntra themselves had to change their logo to confine within the decency norms. Coming more closer to the heart, coming back to our land, Goa. All of us have definitely tasted the beautiful Real cold drinks, and all of us have gone to Real Cafe to eat the most famous bhaji. But we also know that in the market, there's Dabur, which is a very big company, very successful company with a high sales record. And we also know that Dabur has its famous real juices. So what happens here is that the company Dabur files a petition before the Delhi High Court about our Goan friend Real. And what do they say? See, though they say that the word real is very suggestive about the product of the goods. So what happens here? We have fruit juice, which is packaged in a pack, and it's real fruit juice. So therefore, it's called real. So therefore, it is very suggestive. And Dabur was the first one to go and register the name. Now we have this Cafe Real who has come with a poster for the cafe and also for their cold drinks, which is similar to that of Dabur. So this is a huge issue because if one company says, you have copied my name, you have copied my logo, and you are causing deception and confusion in the market, the other company has to pay huge, huge compensation for the damage and loss caused to the other company. So the Dabur company said that they found the Goan Real cold drink bottles on the outskirts of Delhi and Haryana. The Real Goan bottles were selling, and therefore this was causing loss to their business. So what did Real do? Real had a very humble defense in their entire case. All that they said is that we are a humble manufacturer only in Goa. We sell our cold drinks only in Goa. Real Cafe is located only in Goa. We do not move outside Goa. So the court asked our humble company to tell and give in writing and to undertake that they will carry out business only in the state of Goa. I'm sure Real is a wonderful company. It could have, branched out and had many branches all over India. But unfortunately, they delayed a bit in registering that trademark. A similar case is with the Goan Tito's. I'm sure many of you must have gone to the famous nightclub called Tito's, and you must go back home and go to the website of Tito's. And he clearly writes there at his website, I delayed, I did not go to register my trademark Tito's. Therefore, I lost my right to register my trademark. A UP-based company went first and registered the name Tito's, and today the trademark belongs to that UP-based company and not to our Goan friend Tito. So now we have understood that it is very important for a trader when they're out there doing business, they must have a name and an identity. And when they get some kind of reputation and goodwill, it is important that you register your trademark so that you take all the precautions, you find out that there is nobody else in the market with a similar name, and after that you register it so that you will be guaranteed some rights under the law. Let's look at McDonald's. McDonald's, a famous brand. Yes, they have registered a trademark as well, But unfortunately, even after registering, that's not enough. We must be vigilant. We must act like police. Keep an eye whether others are copying my trademark. And sometimes that happens. Other rival companies are on the lookout to copy my trademark. Mike, you may ask me a question. Why does this happen? This normally happens because the other company wants to capture on the reputation, and they want to try and sell goods saying that, I'm selling McDonald's, when really it is a very ordinary pizza and burgers that they are selling. It's not really McDonald's. So they want to encash on the goodwill. So we have a lot of rival companies creating deception and confusion. In such situation, if the trader has registered that trademark under the Trademark Act, then the trader would be protected and he has remedies. So by the time we come to the end of the presentation, I will explain to you what kind of remedies the trader will have and the trader's rights will be protected. During the COVID pandemic, we saw a lot of sanitizers coming up in duplicate names called Dettol and Dettol and so on and so forth. And this was an issue. So Dettol went to the court saying that there is a misleading brand in the market called as Dettol. The courts came down very heavily, and in fact nowadays courts are looking at it as a very serious offense. And the courts asked Dettol to pay a fine of, the courts asked Dettol to pay a fine of 1 lakh rupees. Now, since we have understood our trademark just a little bit, let's get a little bit more familiar with intellectual property rights. So when I look at a simple product like a small bottle of parachute oil, if I look at the technique, how the bottle opens, that technique you have studied the law of patents, I believe, in the morning class. So that technique of opening the bottle qualifies for a patent. The name parachute on the bottle qualifies for a trademark. The label that we print on the bottle could either be registered under the Trademark Act or it could be registered under the law of copyright. And finally, the shape of the bottle may also be registered under the Trademark Act, also probably under the Design Act. Now, what is the difference between the two laws, Trademark Act and Design Act? Under Trademark Act, I can produce bulk goods, 1,000, 5,000, 1 lakh bottles. But under Design Act, if I register a design for the bottle of parachute, then what happens is it's a very exclusive design. So I am permitted to manufacture only 50 pieces and not more. So if I'm going into something which is very exclusive, then it is better to get a design protection. Now, in order to understand trademark, we need to know under what kind of property it comes. So when we look at intellectual property rights, we know that IPR is an intangible kind of property because it all starts in a mind. And in this intangible kind of property, we have two kinds of property. One is the industrial property and the other is the copyright and related rights. Under the industrial property, we have our patents, design, trademark, and geographical indication. And in fact, it's a proud moment for Goa that Goa can boast a lot even about its GI. So what is a GI? A GI is nothing but a geographical indication. That means some kind of goods which is found in a place like Goa because of its speciality of its climate, because of its speciality of its soil, because of its speciality of local factors which have gone into making of that product. So earlier we had Feni, which was granted GI, but now all of us relish the Goan Khade. Goan Khade has been granted GI. The Moira bananas have been granted GI. Brinjols, ladyfinger, and chili also from Goa has been granted a GI. So based on that place, the goods of that place, the idea of giving that kind of goods a GI is that the local cultivator, whoever cultivates that product, that entire community will benefit. In the case of a trademark, what happens is an individual trader will benefit. So that is the difference between the two laws. Now, how did the law of trademark come about? Why did it come about? So we know that obviously the society moved from a stage where we had a lot of production of goods. There was the entire industrial revolutions which happened. At that time, goods began to be identified by some kind of a symbol or a mark. In fact, we do that even with our personal belongings, right? In your own classroom, you might do that. When you used to come to college, your books will have your own label, your rubber, your pencil will have a mark to differentiate between your things and your neighbor's things. Same thing a trader will do with these goods. Sooner these goods will acquire a goodwill in the market. So which means if I prefer to eat pizza from a Pizza Hut, definitely my choice is Pizza Hut. Whereas if you may like Domino's pizza, your choice is Domino's. So which means it has a goodwill in the market. Once a product has a goodwill in the market, there is a temptation of rival traders who would want to copy that product. So therefore, we find a lot of deception, confusingly similar products. We find fake products, and we find all kinds of spurious goods flooding the market. And in order to protect the poor consumer, to protect the trader, there is a need for laws. So if I talk about a consumer, you know that I will be governed under the Consumer Protection Act. But if I'm talking about the trader, yes, to some extent, probably there would be an overlap in the consumer law as well. But the major protection would be under the law of trademark if the mark is copied. Now, what does a trademark do? Once I have a product, I have given it a name like an apple. That's the name of the product. I identify the product. So the minute I say Apple, you obviously know that probably I'm talking about either a laptop or an iPad or a phone. So Apple deals only with electronics, and therefore it identifies my product very well. It also guarantees me quality. So if I would like to buy an Apple, my choice is Apple. If I'm buying Samsung, I know that Samsung also stands for its quality. It also advertises its product. The mere fact that I see a silver logo of an apple, which is slightly, there's a bite taken on it, it indicates that this is the logo for Apple. So which means that picture itself creates an advertisement. It creates an image in the mind of the public. And you remember the number of times we go to the shop and we say, "Are picture So based on that picture, or based on some image, or based on some idea, we are able to remember the name of the product. So therefore, a trader must be very vigilant and very careful in coining the name and also the logo or the label for the product. Now, what would be the object of the law? So when I look at a product and once I get a trademark, obviously the idea of the trademark law was to prevent confusion and deception. So the whole focus of the law is to prevent the consumers from getting confused, to help the consumers to understand from where the product is come. For example, if I say Zara or I say Marks and Spencer, immediately you will say, oh, these are American brands. So we know the source of the product. If I say Amul, oh, you will say this is a Gujarat product, it's a made in India product. So you immediately identify with the source of the product. It also distinguishes similar products. Like, for example, if I'm talking about Amul butter, then probably butter is also there with Britannia. But we do know that though we are talking about butter, Amul butter and Britannia butter are different. So which means the trademark has been registered, since Amul is a company which is well known for its butter. It also protects the owner of the business. And as we have already discussed, it gives the product a goodwill, it gives the trader goodwill. And once the products are sold in the market, it also creates a lot of sale and adds to the economy of the country, which is very, very important. We had different amendments in the law. Just to understand, I will not go in detail, but the first trademark act, which was the Indian Merchandise Mark Act, was passed in 1889. Then, which that one was repealed, we had the Trademark Act 1940, and finally we had the Trademarks Act 1999, which is in force till date. and India also has ratified the international conventions. So therefore, the Indian law is in consonance with the international law. Now, you may ask me a question that if I register a trademark in India and I decide to carry out business in America, will my goods be protected in America? And let us answer this question um, by referring to Ronaldo. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo, and I'm sure all of you are fans of his, and you know Cristiano Ronaldo has his famous chain of merchandise called as CR7. So Cristiano Ronaldo in Europe has registered CR7 for good. His merchandise, what he sells under his brand name, and you know how the logo is coined. CR for his name, his jersey number is 7, therefore CR7. So which means when I look at CR7, I know that this brand belongs to Cristiano Ronaldo. Now, Cristiano Ronaldo decided to enter the American market and he wanted to use CR7 for undergarments and he wanted to sell them there. Unfortunately, when he entered the market, he realized that already there was another man who was already had gone ahead and registered a trademark CR7 and was selling goods in America. This man's name was Christopher Renzi. His initials also are CR. So the law of trademark tells us the one who is first to file will get the registration. That is why in IPR we always say if you get an idea, you must not even discuss with your close friend. In fact, we joke about and say that probably even don't tell your husband and wife, because it could be a time that your husband and wife may say to 5 other people, not that they will go and compete with you, they may say it to somebody else by mistake, and unfortunately your idea might be copied. So when you get an idea, the first thing one must do is go and register that idea, whether it's a trademark or patent or copyright, whatever it is, register. Second, remember it is territorial. So what Cristiano Ronaldo should have done, if he wanted to have his trademark in America, when he registered it in the European Union, he should have also gone to America, registered it there, so that as and when he brought his goods there, he would get protection. Unfortunately, he had not done it, so he didn't get. So which means if I register my trademark in India, I'm protected only in India. If I want to go to Canada, I must also go there and register. Now, once I register a trademark, I am granted protection for 10 years. What happens after that? I have to go and renew the trademark. So I'll get a further protection of 10 years. Then again, I go on renewing, and this could go on for life. Like, for example, the picture you see in the slide, the black and white, these two dogs, which is a famous whiskey brand. It's the first trademark registered in India. And this trademark has completed more than 100 years. Why? Because the trader was very vigilant. After every 10 years, they have gone and renewed their trademark, paying the required fee, and they have enjoying the benefit of the trademark for perpetuity. So which means we as traders must be very vigilant. We must check when the registration ends and go on renewing the trademark. How do I register my trademark? As of today, Government of India has created a facility which is an online facility. So all I have to do is in Google type Controller General or Patent, Trademark and Design. I would go to the relevant site and the forms are available there. I download the relevant forms, fill them, put in all my documents, upload them, and then stay in touch through my email. Everything comes through my email and I follow the procedure and register my trademark. What if I have not registered my trademark? It's not that I don't have remedy if I haven't registered my trademark. So there are a lot of products in the market which are not registered but are still very, very popular. In that case, the trader would get remedy under the law of passing off, under the law of torts. So he'll just get a normal injunction. That is not a very great remedy. That is why we advise most traders and young people, if you are getting into business, if you are going to launch products and you're going to invest in starting your own company, when you coin your company name, take your products and also register trademarks for them so that that can help you in the long run. So now that we understood that there is a very important need for protecting trademarks, we must look at a statutory definition of what is a trademark. So as you can see on the screen, the word trademark comes from two words. One is the word mark, which is defined in section 2, clause 1, clause M of the Trademarks Act 1999, and the word trademark. So mark could include a whole lot of things which we normally understand: a brand, device, a container, a label, a symbol, logo, a ticket, a heading, a name, combination of colors, signature, shape of goods, packaging, and even a title. We'll take each of them separately so that we have a very clear understanding what all goes into designing my trademark. So if you want to design a very good trademark, these all factors will help you. Not only a name, you could use any of these things which we see on the slide. What is a trademark? Section 2, Clause 1, Clause ZB of the Trademark Act defines a trademark. It says, a mark capable of being represented graphically, which is capable of distinguishing goods and services of one person from that of another, includes shape of goods, their packaging, and combination of colors. So what is this graphically? Graphically means I should just be able to put it down in writing. I'm sure all of you have seen Colgate, right? The Colgate toothpaste. So when you look at Colgate, what do you see? It's a red color background. It's a very distinctive red. Look at the red. It's not like a gaudy red. It's a very beautiful red shade. And the lettering of Colgate is in white. And it has a very distinctive font. So if you were the trader and you wanted to register this Colgate name as a trademark, you would have to write down how the red color was created. You know, what colors do you mix and get this particular shade? What kind of font you're using for writing that word Colgate on it? And what is the size of the font? So you would have to give a lot of description so that no other rival, if at all they copy that same font and same color, you would get protection. That is the meaning of representing graphically. We already know that trademark distinguishes one goods from another goods, like for example, Kisan and Britannia. You know that Kisan is one company, Britannia is another company. So I can distinguish the goods from Kisan as a company, Dabur as a company, Himalaya as a company, and though they may have similar goods, but I know they are different. Also, not only the goods, packaging of the goods is very important, and colors as well. Sometimes when I name a trademark, it could be even simple alphabets. For example, IBM. It could be words. It could be joining of numbers. It could be numerals, or it could be invented words. Sometimes we are very creative. So all these things would be very, very important. Now let's look at the word mark, which we discussed, which will help us to coin a nice trademark. Usually they say headings are very nice trademarks. But from a consumer perspective, I'm sure, we don't like to remember very, very long words, because if it's a long word, when I go to the shop, definitely I've forgotten half the word, and probably the shopkeeper will give me something else. But one famous brand, which was in terms of a heading in a long word, was Fair and Lovely. No one ever forgot it, and almost everyone used it. But in between, they started a huge debate on Twitter, which you must have seen, when Shah Rukh Khan's daughter Suhana started posting pictures, and Shah Rukh Khan was modeling for a brand called Fair and Handsome, and he's made a statement saying that, though I'm modeling for Fair and Handsome, yet I have a daughter who's dark skinned and I like dark skinned people. And immediately his poor daughter started being trolled, and then there was a lot of debate in the media on different fairness brands. All the celebrities who were advertised for fairness brands were targeted. So finally, Fair and Lovely felt this is very, very bad. Condemning someone on the basis of their skin color is not a nice thing to do. So Fair and Lovely by itself changed its name to Glow and Lovely. So beautiful. So they just changed the name from Fair and Lovely to glow and lovely. So the word glow and lovely is a heading which is used by them. Similarly, every company has a product and they have a label which is pasted onto the container or pasted onto a bottle or pasted onto the packing. So this label gives us a lot of information. So the label also is very important. We have already seen the Goan Real case where just merely on the label they were taken to court. So even my label is very, very essential. Sometimes, if you are into manufacturing of clothes, like for example, if you buy jeans, you find small stickers, right? You have a Pepe jeans or Levi jeans or Adidas jeans. You have the brand name stitched onto the material. This kind of tag is called as a ticket, which is tagged onto the goods with the name of the goods printed on it. Many times what happens, you find traders, particularly when you go to a Maksa market or sometimes you buy online, you find that brands, it may be a Pepe jeans or it may be a Levi jean, but it's a duplicate Levi. So you find a lot of traders taking the original logo and pasting it to fake products. So that is what sometimes counterfeiting or fake similar goods, these issues do happen. So it is very important that you take care when you're designing your product, how you're using your word and how you're attaching it to the goods. Many times there is an argument, I'm a trader, my name is Ranjana. So obviously I would like to call my product or my goods as Ranjana. And the argument is, why not? It's my name. I'm a bona fide trader. I have created the product, so I have a right to use. Even when you looked at the definition of the word mark, you did see name in that. But the point today is that the courts are saying, what if there is another lady by the name Ranjana? Then what is going to happen? You might not be bothered, but think of the consumer. The consumer would be confused, which is the real Ranjana. So in such situations, there would be a problem. So use of personal name, use of surname is a problem. Like for example, there is a very famous lawyer who in fact is now a High Court judge and who had a law firm called as Singh and Singh, the one you see in blue. And the other party started another law firm called as Singh and Associates, which is a law firm. Both these law firms are located in Delhi. So when the original plaintiff went to the court saying that, I'm the first one and my name is Singh, so I started Singh, and now here my defendant, who's also a very famous lawyer, has come and started up Singh and Associates, what do I do? The court said, look here, you both are lawyers and well-known lawyers. How do clients find you? You not only have Indian clients, you have international clients. So sometimes international clients, they will Google, probably they don't know your address and they'll come. So that poor client might be confused. They might want to come to Singh and Singh because you're so well-known, but might be misled to go to Singh and Associates. And the court came down very heavily and said, if you cannot protect your own trademark, how are you expected to protect the trademark of your client? So court clearly said, please avoid using personal name and surname. So as a good practice, we advise young people, please avoid using your personal name, surname. If you're combining your name with some other name, okay. Avoid using your name and names of geographic places. Avoid using names which are well known, which we are going to discuss right now, what you should avoid. So this, if you avoid, this will help you and will keep your product safe in the market. Another common practice you must have seen on television, most celebrities add their signature to the product. Sachin Tendulkar, Amitabh Bachchan, Madhuri Dixit, so Shah Rukh Khan, you find them adding signatures. And this is very, very interesting. In fact, Sachin Ramesh Tendulkar had started a chain of hotels somewhere in the year 2012. He wanted to launch his restaurant in Bandra. So he went to the trademark office and registered SRT. Now the Trademark Act has some 42 classes. What is this 42 classes? In class 1, let's say, class 1 talks about stationery, class 2 talks about soaps, class 3 talks about electronic items, and so on and so forth. So if I register in class 1, which probably is stationery, and my product is a stationery, sometimes I may register in class 5 also, because tomorrow I may want to launch some products which are toiletries as well. So just, as a trader, if I think that I can tomorrow have utensils and I can have footwear and I can have something else, I will register in all 42 classes. And that's what Sachin did. He went ahead and registered his trademark SRT in all 42 classes. What happened? He did not start his hotel. His chain didn't came up. The Controller General of Patent, Design and Trademark, of course, removed his registration of trademark from most of the classes. Only the restaurant one was kept because Sachin showed indication that he was going to launch his hotel. Similarly, we have heard that Shah Rukh Khan had done the same thing. Even Shah Rukh Khan lost his registration in many classes. So the signature of the celebrity becomes very, very important, not only under the Trademark Act, but also under the consumer law. As you might have heard right now, the Consumer Protection Act has been amended in 2019, and now celebrities are personally liable when they endorse their signature to the product. So tomorrow, if the product is of a very inferior quality, the celebrity will have to pay compensation to the consumer for making a false claim. The most common forms of trademarks are, of course, logos, and every company has a very beautiful logo and very beautiful pictures. So the creativity is very important. How you design your logo. You could have pictures, you could have drawings, you could have numerals, you could have different kind of ways in which you write. Look at IBM, even simple letters. Even Microsoft, who would have thought, simple windows done in a small design like that would become a very famous trademark. Then we have devices. So if you have seen Amul, Amul has that girl, utterly butterly delicious, who keeps on dancing, and you have seen the holdings of Amul. So that Amul girl has been registered as a device. If you have seen the Pillsbury, Atta, Pillsbury has that white color cowboy, which is registered as a device, and Asian Paints has its cartoon character called as Gattu, which is registered as a device. So it just depends on you as a trader. If you're very creative, what you want to do, how you want to your trade name look like. So you can be very creative and coin anything that you would like. Now, how do you package your goods? That's very important. Even your packaging makes a lot of difference. Like, for example, Rolex, right? When you buy a Rolex, Rolex was known for its beautiful green casing. What a jeweler did in Delhi, he copied the same packing style, the box of Rolex, and he put jewelry in that and he was selling. So the courts came down very heavily and said, no, you cannot copy a famous brand like Rolex. So when I talk about packaging, packaging could include everything: the container, the covering, the folder, the vessel, the bottle, the wrapper, label, ticket, everything. And nowadays, you must have seen online companies, when they send you a little parcel, you have huge tapes around it with Amazon or Flipkart or Myntra, attached on it, or Carrot Lane or Bluestone. Even that taping, that what is put on the parcel, is very, very important, that you should have not copied that taping from your rival trader. Tiffany and Company has registered its beautiful turquoise blue as a trademark. So colors also are very, very important. Rather than a single color, the preference is always given to a combination of colors. And the color should be in such a way that human eye can distinguish it. We'll talk in the next few slides about selecting a particular color for a trademark. So as you can see, the beautiful blue color box along with the ribbon, Tiffany has managed to register a trademark for their packing as well. So when I look at combination of colors, you look at Heinz Beans, a beautiful bluish color, turquoise blue. They have managed to trademark this blue. And I'm sure most girls like their Louis Vuitton shoes. So the typical black shoe and the beautiful red color. The designer who manufactured the shoe, he had an assistant, and he loved the red nail polish that she was wearing. So from that red nail polish color, he invented the shoe and made the sole of the shoe beautiful red. And this Louis Vuitton shoe is very famous for its red color. Similarly, a Ferrari, whether it's a yellow Ferrari, but the red Ferrari is very, very distinctive and it's very well known for its color. Today we have some modern kind of marks. So who would have thought at one time gestures might not have been trademarks? But today you have your phone which you open with your fingerprinting, recognition. Very soon artificial intelligence will be the in thing. You already have your smartphones, smart TVs and Alexa which are already there in your home, which are smart. So gesture is coming in a big way. So it's possible for us to even use gesture as a trademark. Uh, Look at the shape of the trademark. I'm sure you've taken calcium sandals tablets. You can even have flavors, strawberry, though in India right now we are not much into flavors. When we look at color, the one issue came was with Cadbury. So Cadbury had a very distinctive purple. Another company copied this purple shade. So Cadbury tried claiming monopoly. So what the court said, don't use a single color, rather use a combination of colors. But even when you're using combination, be very specific. Like in this case, the BP Petroleum, the flower that you see on the screen, it's a green, yellow, and white. It's so mixed up. It's very difficult for the human eye to say what color it exactly is. So yes, shape of goods are very, very important. And sometimes we say that, if the shape of the goods gives rise to technical result, then probably we can't register as a trademark. Our humble Kit Kat, they had not registered that two finger shape as a trademark and they lost that case. Similarly, a Rubik cube is known for its shape. Rubik cube is fighting the case for shape of its cube in various countries in the world. On the other hand, Toblerone, the triangles of Toblerone have got registration as a shape. And the Oreo biscuit, if you look at the Oreo biscuit has a very distinctive design on it. So Oreo has managed to protect its design on the biscuit. So even that qualifies for a trademark. Of course, Lego tiles are again being disputed. Another very common thing for traders nowadays is to use slogans. So you see so many advertisements on TV, you see different slogans with them. These all can be registered as trademark. Even sounds, Nokia had come out with a sound when they had first started. Windows had a sound. Samsung had a sound. Metro Goldwyn Pictures, you have the roaring lion as a sound. Columbia Motion Pictures has that light flashing, so it's a light kind of a trademark. So you can be very creative with what kind of a trademark you want. Even your names of your textbooks, name of your storybook, you cannot register them under copyright, but what the law says, the name of the book, like Sashi Tharoor's book, Elephant, the Tiger, and the Cell Phone, this can be registered as a trademark. Film names. Recently there was this issue. Akshay Kumar's movie was supposed to be called Lakshmi Bomb. But what happened was they said Lakshmi is a word which has religious significance with the goddess. So calling it Lakshmi Bomb was not right. So therefore the film name was later changed to Lakshmi. So even a film name qualifies for a trademark. So what happened here in Karan Johar's movie Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna? You had Biswarup Roy Chaudhary who had already gone and registered Kabhi Alvida Na Kehna as a in the trademark and also had registered the script and also shooting of the film had happened. But Karan Johar was much faster. He went ahead and made the film and it became a huge commercial success. So the court said, they asked Biswajit Roy, why you came so late? You should have come in time when you knew Karan Johar was making because the trailers were out, the posters were out. You should have come that time if you wanted some kind of remedy. So it's very important for us to act within time. And today your business is not only in the physical world, we are all online because of the pandemic. So even a domain name qualifies as a trademark. And today we are saying that since my products are known across different countries, I know so many foreign brands, my product has become well known, like our own Indian products, Tata, Bata, Bisleri, Hamdard, Mahindra. These are all our Indian products which are well known all over the world. So courts have said that, nobody can copy our own Indian products. What about advertisements? There was this very interesting advertisement between Horlicks and Complan. Now, what they show you is that you have this one lady who comes in an orange sari with bright colors and very tall, and then you have the Horlicks lady with a blue sari and dull and blend colors. So Complan is telling you, if you drink Complan, you will be good. If you drink Horlicks, you will not be good. So these kind of ads are very, very bad ads. These are an offense under your Consumer Protection Act. They are very denigrative ads. They are comparing, but in a very wrong manner comparing. So though advertisements are trademarks, we agree, but advertisements should not be like this. So the courts ask them to get this ad off air. Now, can I use names like famous names of movies like Sholay? Ram Gopal Verma wanted to make a movie called as Sholay. So the court told him, did you take permission from the original makers of Sholay, that is Ramesh Sippy? He said no. So the court asked him to change the name of the movie Sholay. So he had to end up calling the movie as Ram Gopal Verma Ki Aag. So I cannot use famous names. Like for example, in the next scene, what you see, Nokia Corporation versus Movie Express. What happened here? There was a Telugu film which was being made, and this Telugu film was being called Mr. Nokia and Mr. Nokia. Slowly, they renamed that movie to Mr. Nokia. So Nokia went to court and said, I am Nokia, the famous brand. Look at this movie, is trying to copy my name, and this is going to cause damages to my reputation. So finally, the movie had to be called Mr. Nokia Reloaded. Okay, so we have to be very careful. Similarly, our John Abraham wanted to make a film called as Hamara Bajaj. Now, Hamara Bajaj was a very famous brand when I was a little girl, when I was growing up. So that time, my dad had a scooter called Hamara Bajaj. Now, probably, you don't drive these kind of scooters, but the court asked John Abraham to change that word. Similarly, we had Rohit Shetty coming up with a film called Simba. Simba is a famous beverage. So the court asked Rohit Shetty to put in a disclaimer in the film that this Simba got nothing to do with the Simba drink. And in fact, this is a problem now with the word Corona. There was the famous Corona beer. And now most products that are being manufactured in the COVID times, the word Corona has entered everything. So the question we can ask is, can I use fancy words like Corona, organic? Everything has become organic, whether it's really organic or not, God alone knows. So the answer is no. If your product is not an organically created product, don't simply write that word organic India or anything else. Can I use like this internationally recognized gestures? This is a famous gesture of Gareth Bale. So don't copy somebody else's gesture. You have seen on the field, on cricket matches, you have seen on TV, somebody copying this one's gesture, that one's gesture. Don't do that, because though I said yes, gestures can be registered as a trademark, we still have to find out whether somebody has registered it as a gesture. Can I use religious content and names? No, definitely not. One must be very careful. We have just seen how Saif Ali Khan is fighting the battle for his Netflix version of Sacred Games, which landed into trouble for using religious content. Don't bring in a lot of names of God, goddesses on your clothes. Of course, there are a lot of brands in the market, but if you as a trader want to register, don't do that. There was a very famous case where somebody had given the word Ramayan for Agarbati. The court said, don't even use names of books, holy books, for your goods. That is not correct. You should not do that. Then there was, we all know Santa Banta, but there's a site called santabanta.com. And Boman Irani wanted to make a film called as Santa Banta Private Limited. So the santabanta.com brought a suit against him saying that you can't make this movie called as Santa Banta Private Limited. Now the question which comes is, can I use descriptive words to register my trademark? So a word like Rasna, what kind of word it is? It is a mixture of two words, Ras and Na. It's also a juice. So when I look at ras, it means juice. So, but the mere fact that the word na is there with it, it is something different. So in the case of rasna, the court allowed this word. So it is like a suggestive, descriptive word. What about safi? Safi means blood purifier. It comes from the word saf. Saf means clean. So safi, so it's almost suggestive. So initially the court refused to register the word safi, but in appeal, the court allowed it. I already told you, do not use names of geographic places. Like, for example, Darjeeling, very famous place. So, what ITC did? ITC started a lounge which was called as Darjeeling Lounge. But in this case, the court said, Darjeeling, we know it's a hill station. We know it's a very famous place. In this lounge, only in a hotel, ITC was fine. But the court said, make it clear that you're not selling Darjeeling tea there and not creating confusion. But haven't you seen this Himalayan water bottle? Right? And on top of that, it says pure natural mineral water discovered by Dadi. And you know for a fact that this water does not come from Himalayas. So the court in this matter told Himalayas, you please write on your bottle that this water is not from Himalayas. Similarly, there was a dispute between India Gate and Church Gate. These are geographic names, names of places, right? But this is a very long dispute, went on for many years. The parties came in very late. So, the parties themselves did not get any relief in the court. But what we take back from this case is that we must not use names of geographic places. What about names of startups which have become famous? Like, for example, Naukri.com. So Naukri.com is our savior. When we want a job, we just go and we put there. So what the defendant did? Defendant started a similar website called as Naukri.com, Naukri. You may call this, if you know your IT Act, you may call this phishing or something like that. But he started that kind of a site. The court said, restrained the defendant from having its site. What about words which are of national importance, like Satyamev Jayate? You do know that Amir Khan had a famous show which was called as Satyamev Jayate, and he had gone ahead to register a trademark in different classes. I just told you 42 classes are there. So Amir Khan went ahead to register a trademark Satyamev Jayate in 42 classes. The court said, this is a very word which has so much of importance to us, and having this word registered in classes for footwear, utensil is not correct. So the court removed the registration in those groups which was not needed and kept only for a few classes. Similarly, words like Gandhiji. Okay, so Mont Blanc came up with this wonderful idea on the 150th anniversary of Gandhi to launch pens with the portrait of Gandhi inscribed on the nib. And these were limited edition pens, which were very, very expensive. And also Mont Blanc agreed that the royalty from the pen and pens will go to his grandson, Tushar Gandhi. But the law says no, Gandhiji is the father of the nation. He's a national figure to us. So you can't use those kind of names in your product. So avoid that. So now what happens if we copy somebody else's product? Like this is a very famous case. We all know Pizza Hut. So what a trader in Delhi did, he said, okay, Pizza Hut is there. What do? I'll translate the word. I'll make it Pizza Ghar. So he had Pizza Ghar. The court came down very heavily. The court said, this is not only cheating, this is fraud. And what you're doing, you're selling similar pizza. So the court, after making the rival trader pay a huge amount of compensation, the courts also send him to jail. So which means in today's time, if I register a trademark, the trader gets a lot more protection, not only compensation, the business is protected, and also the rival business is finished, right? So that is very important remedy. Similarly, those of you who love coffee, you know Starbucks, there are so many fake versions, and recently the Delhi High Court came down very heavily and said, all these fake brands, Sardar Baksh Coffee and Company, the court completely told them to just stop trading in all this. So you see the pictures on the screen, you realize that there are different kinds of bourbons in the market. You look at the packaging, NutriChoice, they're so deceptively similar. They create all kinds of confusion. When I used to buy Good Day biscuit at one time, I knew which was the original Good Day. Now I have so many different kinds of cookies in the market. I do not know what am I buying. So there is so much of deception and confusion which is being caused. So we have come to almost to the end of our presentation, and keeping in mind that we are discussing issues for Goa, let's talk about some important cases in Goa. So we all know that there is a famous ICICI Prudential, which is a banking company. Goa had a very famous real estate company called as Prudential. So obviously ICICI Prudential, found that Prudential was very, very deceptive. Initially, there was an argument that ICICI Prudential is a banking company. So no question of confusion with the real estate company. Why? Because whoever goes to for banking will go to ICICI Prudential and they know it very well. Whoever goes to buy a flat will go to Prudential and they know that very well. But sooner or later, there was bound to be confusion and a petition was filed. So immediately, Prudential developers changed their name and today they are called as Tridentia. So it is very important for us as young traders to remember that be very unique, be different, do not copy, and take your protection by registering your trademark under the Trademark Act, or else somebody someday may come knocking on your door like this when your business is so well established and you may have to change the name of your business. Similarly, we had a very famous restaurant called Tao, right? Now, Tao is also a very famous nightclub. Overnight, we saw Tao disappeared from Panjim, so we do not know where it went, what happened. But the point we make here is that Tao is a very famous brand. So if I want to call my restaurant Tao, either I should have taken a franchisee from the original Tao, like how you have your KFCs and McDonald's and Subway, they all are franchisees, then it would be fine. There's a very interesting case of KFC. Of course, KFC is Kentucky Fried Chicken. In Kerala, you had street side stalls which were set up selling chicken, which were called KFC. And why were they called KFC? The full form be Kerala Fried Chicken. So the original trader KFC came down very heavily on the roadside uh, fellow, and they had to change their name. Similarly, in Punjab, a trader, he called himself Mr. Singh Burger King, and he had a very small cart where he was selling burgers and he was very famous. So the original Burger King sent him a legal notice. Immediately, Mr. Singh said, "Are pura re baba, I don't want to go to court. I'm a small trader." He just changed the name of his business. Similarly, we know Ritz. Ritz is a very famous hotel. We have Ritz Classic, which is very famous. So traders must be very, very careful when we are selecting names. Nowadays, another common argument has come for startups, like for example, Make My Trip, right? Another startup calling itself Make My Yatra. But in this case, Make My Trip had already registered themselves. They had done all the necessary things. So Make My Yatra could be told, you can't call yourself Make My Yatra because we have already registered our trademark and we have already got our protection. But unfortunately, Book My Show, Book My Show had not done anything like this. Book My Show had not registered a trademark. And then came another startup which was called Book My Sport. So in this situation, the court said, you are using a word which is called book my, which is a very common word. No, very common word. Anybody can use the word book my class, book my sport, book my show, book my ticket, anything it could be. So therefore, the word book my being very common, getting protection for this word might be difficult. So when I'm trying to frame my trademark, I must keep in mind the rules that we have just learned. So I have come to the end of my presentation. If you have any questions now for me, since I have engaged you for full 1 hour, you may ask me.
Yeah, the platform is open for queries. If any participant has a question to ask, please make use of the chat box. Okay, ma'am, if that ICICI Prudentials
Yes.
and Prudentia, suppose
Yes.
the Prudential Real Estate had registered first and ICICI
Yes.
Prudential registering later on in the 2000s and
Yes.
Prudentia Real Estate registering in the 80s. Okay, so
Yes.
like who is entitled for the trademark?
The one who had registered first would have definitely got protection. So what happens under Trademark Act is once you're registered, you will never be asked to change your name. This happens only when you're not registered as a trademark, changing of name. So what usually happens is either the company sends a legal notice. After sending the legal notice, immediately the other company changes name. Or sometimes some companies are very adamant. They'll say, no, we'll go for a court case. We'll file the court case because there are so many remedies. I will say, I'm well known in the market. Consumers identify me. I have so much of sale, like in the case of Real. Real is definitely a big business player in the market in Goa. They're very, very well known. That is why the court respected that. And the court clearly told them, okay, fine, you do your sale, but only in Goa, no need to change the name. So that also happens. But better is you first, now since we are new and we are entering into the business, best is to register. So my only defense would be that my product has become very, very distinctive. I could also say I'm very, very well known in the market. And if the court agrees that I'm well known, the court may allow me. Or I'm very, very distinctive. Distinctive in the sense like Cadbury, Cadbury has this very beautiful purple shade. And looking at the wrapping only, I know that this is the Dairy Milk chocolate we are referring to. That is a very limited defense that I have. Ultimately, the courts have to agree.
Okay. So anyone else has a question?
That's a lovely question from Devata. One brand is entitled for how many trademarks for a company? In fact, I congratulate you on this question. In fact, Government of India has something called awards nowadays for IPR, and you young students must Google and keep in touch. Like a company, like for example, Britannia. Britannia is a huge company. Hindustan Liver is a huge company, and I've done this exercise once for my students. And I find that they have got some 300, 400 trademarks registered in a single year because they have so many products in-house. Every product has a trademark and they do register them as trademarks. They do get patents. Reliance has got so many patents. If you go to their site, Reliance Industries, RIL site, even the Jio, I think most of you are using your Jio dongle. Jio has got so many patents, so many trademarks. Government of India awards companies for investing in intellectual property rights. And you must have also heard that if I have IPR, like if I have got a trademark, then it's beneficial to the company. Like for example, if the company would like to take a loan, particularly now in this COVID times, you must have seen companies are in an economic crisis. So the company would like to approach a bank for getting of a loan, then they can mortgage that trademark. And because of the goodwill of the trademark, they may get, higher asset value, which would be created in the market. Devata, can you be a little more specific? It's a nice question that you asked, but I'm just trying to understand. Today, nations are fighting to acquire as many intellectual property rights. What is the reason for it? What exactly do you have in mind? If you tell me, then I could be specific. Any area you have in mind?
Devta, you can unmute yourself.
Okay. In fact, in IPR, we say competition is very healthy. There needs to be advancement in science and technology because intellectual property rights is a scientific branch. So in order to have advancements in science and technology, there needs to be healthy competition in the market. Since you took up the issue of competition, let me just, since your program is on IPR, it's interesting for young students to know that there is a competition act also available. Now, what happens when goods come out in the market? There's a huge competition. Nokia has let's say, Nokia is charging 20,000 for a smartphone. Samsung is charging 25,000 and iPhone is charging 50,000. In fact, this was the issue which had come in the market some time back. iPhone was very expensive and Samsung was less. And then Samsung had copied features almost similar to the iPhone and was selling it much cheaper. And iPhone had issues and iPhone had taken Samsung to different courts in different countries. So one thing is that competition is good. Because of competition, we consumers get a lot of new products. When we keep on buying new products, the economy of the country increase because there's a demand, there's a supply, there is more cash inflow. You are commerce students, so you understand all of this. So this is very important, and every nation working towards intellectual property rights, very, very important. Like for example, China does not care too much for intellectual property rights. Whereas, because we all know, if you buy Chinese products, sometimes they do not work. They are no good products. They don't care much. But most other countries of the world care. And why do they care? You must have heard there is the World Trade Organization, World Intellectual Property Organization. So when a country, enters into an agreement, or when we sign these international documents, we are bound by the international law, and we have to take care of those norms. So that's important. But nowadays what happens is that this competition is an unhealthy competition. So one company charges its mobile phone 20, which is a reasonable price, and another company slashes the rate down to 5,000. So there's an unfair balance that is created in the market. It's a very arbitrary balance. This will be dangerous for the traders because the manufacturing cost itself is 25,000, and the trader, is cutting down all its profits and giving it for 25, and here comes a company who is selling it for 5,000. So these kind of competition issues go to the Competition Commission of India and are dealt under the Competition Act. Another very interesting example for you students to understand will be in terms of films. Okay, so what happens is when Yash Raj Films comes out with a movie, they book all the prime Inox and multiplex. They build all these prime ones. The more seating capacity, the better AC conditions, the better facilities one. And when Ajay Devgan comes with a film, since he's coming out with the film on the same day, he did not get the prime one. So he went to court and said, this competition is bad. The court said yes. Even since we agreed that films are goods and they are trademarks, one can't just go and block the screen so that others don't get a fair advantage. Everyone must get a fair advantage in an economy. How trademarks help country to grow? Yes, that's a very good question. See, the more and more products come, in fact, more and more goods come into the market, as I explained to you, there will be a sale. And soon this sale will cross the borders. There will be trade, right? There will be imports, there will be exports. There will be FDI, foreign direct investment. So which means new foreign companies will come to India. They will provide jobs, they will provide employments, they will provide goods. We ourselves will buy more, will become more consumeristic society. That will help the economy to grow. So what our Prime Minister is telling us right now, we are a developing country, but very soon we'll be a developed country. In fact, this entire process will take us there to a developed nation. So it's very important for us.
Yeah, I think this session will end. Google Meet will end anytime now. So I just want to thank you, ma'am, Ranjana ma'am, for gracing this session with your informative presentation. And students who are desirous of availing the certificate of participation for this particular session must fill the feedback form, the link of which is put up on the chat box. So thank you all for attending the session 2. We will meet tomorrow for session 3 and 4 on IPR for technology and business and patent and the public interest. So please refer to the e-brochure of the webinar for further details. Thank you once again. Have a nice day.
Thank you and have a nice day.
Thank you, Ms. Ranjana.